All the major powers of the world have a duty, in my view, to carefully manage their relationships. And we are not seeking a new Cold War or a world divided into rigid blocs. The United States is ready to work with any nation.
Now, this comes amid the aftermath of a decision last week by the United States to enter a trilateral security pact with Australia and the United Kingdom. The AUKUS Pact has been set up, and this agreement was seen as a slap in the face to France, a longtime NATO ally of the United States. It resulted in submarine contracts and the sale of submarines by France to Australia being canceled. It was quite a lucrative deal, and as a result, the United States will be supplying submarines to Australia rather than France. The French were quite outraged by it, as were other voices within the European Union.
One of our member states has been treated in a way that is not acceptable. Friends and allies, partners talk to each other. So this did clearly not happen, and I think we need to talk.
There is a growing feeling in Europe, and I say this with regret, that something is broken in our transatlantic relations. It is probably time to pause and reset our EU-US relationship.
What we're seeing there has made a lot of things more difficult, and I'm afraid things will remain more difficult for a while. We understand very well the anger of our French friends. What was decided there, the way this decision came about, is irritating. It is sobering, and not only for France.
Now, what's interesting is that after Joe Biden spoke on the official schedule of the UN General Assembly, we were supposed to be hearing from French President Macron, who was going to give a pre-recorded statement. However, that pre-recorded address from the French leader has been canceled. France has not given an official reason for this decision, but many are looking on and saying that this is related to the new tension between the United States and France related to the AUKUS deal. Now, China has also denounced the AUKUS deal, saying that it is an escalation, leading to a kind of new Cold War.
The US, UK and Australia's nuclear submarine collaboration has seriously undermined regional peace and stability, intensified the arms race and undermined international nuclear non-proliferation efforts.
So quite a bit of skepticism from international observers about Joe Biden's speech. This was his first speech to the UN General Assembly.
Maupin reporting there. Well, journalist Chris Hedges and Austria's former Foreign Minister Karen Eisel told us there's a divide between what the White House says and what it actually does.
It's not just a bilateral nuisance now that will fly away by a phone call that has been announced between President Biden and Macron. It will remain, and I'm pretty sure that it will have further implications for free trade talks, for the various councils between the US and the European Union. If there is one country that really employs geopolitics in its diplomacy, it's France. To all that, we also have to add the fragmentation that it could still stir up inside NATO.
There is a kind of feigning on the part of the Biden administration that none of this happened. There is a clear rupture, and a rupture with traditional allies that has seen NATO partners speak of essentially going it alone. The unilateral actions of the United States, the unilateral decision to pull out of Afghanistan, the unilateral decision to essentially betray the French, and the French found out by reading it in the newspapers. There was no diplomatic back-channel communication beforehand. The whole idea that this is, he speaks about not wanting confrontation and cooperation at a time when he carries out a massive deal in terms of nuclear submarines, basing them, essentially, in the waters that are dominated by China, is ratcheting up tensions. I think the disconnect between the worldview that Biden presented of America, of itself, and the reality is there's a pretty deep chasm there.